So, good afternoon to all of you. Thank you very much for your presence. And today we are continuing with our GOPI GITA series. In this case, we'll be discussing 13th verse of the GOPI GITA. We're in our 15th meeting. So let's make a brief summary of yesterday's meeting where we were studying 12th verse of the GOPI GITA, where the gopis are saying, Dina parikchaye nila kuntalar banaruhananam bibdadabritam ghanarajaswalam darshayan muhur manasinashmaram virayachisi. So they were saying, O beloved hero, as the day dissolves, you return home. Your lotus face is partly covered by a bluish black locks of curling hair, and also covered by a very thin layer of dust rising from the host of cow's hooves. And at that time, by repeatedly showing us your beautiful lotus face, so exquisitely adorned, you're imparting Cupid to our minds. So this verse has to do mainly with the Aparana Lila, which is the mid-morning pastimes in the eternal dynamics of Sri Krishna, when Krishna is going with his friends and the cows, returning back home with the friends and the cows. So we spoke a little bit about the dynamics of that moment, how Krishna is calling the cows, using a dual japamala, playing his flute, calling their names. They're coming, different groups. And also how this moment is connected to the cows, the cow dust, and the expectation of the Brajavasis regarding Krishna's return. Godhuli, that's the name of the moment of the day, the cow dust time. Also sometimes dust is said Raj, not only Duli and Raj, with the play of words has to do with passion, since dust has to do with the covering of passion. So here the gopis are experiencing a type of divine covering, divine passion. Also has to do with the moment of the day, Aparana Lila, which is the afternoon pastimes, which has to do again with Rajas. And the gopis here invoke the word Smarana. Smaran means Cupid. So all this is imparting Cupid, how we look you at that particular moment of the day, returning, showing us your face, being able to see you but not being able to join you. So that's the type of pain. And the gopis were saying, we experience suffering when you are leaving in the morning, during the Purvana Lila, in the mid-morning pastime, you are living with the cows and your friends to the cows pastures. So that's painful for us. The fire, Viraha Agni, the fire of separation is blazing there when you go to the forest. But when you return for the forest, you are suffering even more, because now we can see you, but we cannot join you after this heightened period of separation during the day. So different Agnis are battling inside the gopis' heart. We see you, but we cannot fully join you as we will like, because so many other people, so many other Brajavasis are there in the village looking at you at the same time. So the beauty of Krishna's face in this verse was described in terms of also the dust covering his face. We spoke how even the dust is made of prem. In Golok, so whatever thing, even the dust is extraordinary as increasing Krishna's beauty. Krishna is so beautiful that even the dust makes him more beautiful. Or Krishna is making dust more beautiful because of his own beauty, as you like to see it. And also the gopis were saying, in that moment you are returning, at the same time Krishna is like provoking the gopis. He's embracing the cows, he's embracing his friends. And in this way, indirectly saying the gopis, I would like to embrace you like this, to be with you like this. So this takes the gopi to the point of saying, only a rendezvous will satisfy us at this particular moment. Nothing else apart from that. In the context of some left-wing gopis, we mentioned also how some of them may say, you actually do not want us to die. You are killing us, but at the same time, you know how not to kill us. Because if we will die, who else will suffer so much than us, and will give you so much pleasure? You enjoy seeing our suffering, so you maintain our lives in order to enjoy our suffering. The gopis were speaking in a harsh way. We're referring to the imparting of Cupid as with the word Vira also. Vira means hero, but here the gopis say you are a hero, like a hero. You are throwing flower arrows, like Cupid has flower arrows, and you are creating holes in the dharma, in the moral principles of young ladies as us, like us. Or also they say you are a hero because you don't want us to die again, because there's no one who suffers so much than as us, and that gives you so much pleasure. So you are saving us like a hero, saving from dying, but again in a sarcastic term. And they qualify further their prayer by saying Dina Parikyaya at the very beginning of the verse. Dina Parikyaya means at the end of the day, implying Purva and Lila, but also at the very end of our day, of our life, implying appear. We are just about to die. Please don't delay. Basically, that's the whole implication. Appear before us, which is the classical conclusion of all these verses. Please appear before us. Don't delay. So this was the last one, verse number 12. This was the last one of, if you remember, 3 verses, which according to Jiva Goswami, were a reply of the gopis to Krishna. Possible argument when they mentioned verse number 9, saying Tavakatamritam Tapta Jivanam. Speaking about the glories of Harikatha, Krishna may have said to them, well, you can remain satisfied, just hear my Harikatha, I'm hard to get. And the gopis say, no, we cannot be fully satisfied only by hearing Harikatha because of this. And they mention in these verses 10, 11, and 12, all the dealings that Krishna exhibited with the gopis in Purvarag before officially meeting with them, glances, smiles, conversations, eventually when they met, some pastimes, and all these other things that make Krishna, if you will, guilty or responsible. So he should appear because he created such a fire, if you will. So that's the end of this particular section inside the Gopi Gita. And today we will turn to verse number 13, which along with verse 14, we will see tomorrow, also comprises another particular section, if you will, of the Gopi Gita. So I will share the verse with you in the chat. Hopefully you can read it. Can you hear me properly? Because here it's raining quite a lot and it's making big noise on the roof. But hopefully you can hear me.
You're fine here.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm trying to speak as loud as I can also. Okay. So there's the verse. I will recite it in Sanskrit for the ones who would like to join. Ganat kamadam padmajartitam dharani mandanam dheyamapadi charana pankajam shantanam kati ramananastane sarpayadhiham. So let's read the translation of the verse. Here the gopis are saying, "O lover, sorry, O lover, your lotus feet, which are worshipped by the lotus-born Brahma, fulfill the desires of all who bow down to them. They are the ornament of the earth. They represent the essence of peace, and in times of danger, they are the appropriate object of meditation. O destroyer of anxiety, please place those lotus feet upon our breasts." So here the gopis are presenting a similar request to the one they presented in verse 7. We'll see that in detail, but with some added features of further emotional intensity as the Gopi Gita proceeds. As we have said, every single verse is reaching a new height, a new emotional peak as Krishna is not appearing. So the song of the gopis becomes more surcharged by the emotions, by the love in separation, that so many reminders and spurtis they are experiencing. So here in this particular verse, gopis are saying, Pranata Kamadam. Let's go to the word by word meaning. Pranata Kamadam Padmajarchitam. So Pranata Kamadam, here they are speaking about the feet of Krishna. This word will appear later in the third line, Charana Pankajam, the lotus feet. So what's the connection of Krishna's lotus feet? Some attributes will be described in this verse. First, that it says, Pranata Kamadam. Pranata means of one who bows down, one who do pranam unto those feet. What happens if you bow down to those feet? Kamadam. Kama means desires in a general way, and dham means fulfilling. So pranata kamadam means your lotus feet fulfill all desires. Padmaja architam. Padmaja means Brahma, that person who was born from a lotus flower. Padma means lotus, and ja comes from Janma, which means birth. So Padmaja is the name for Brahma, the lotus born, if you will. And Architam means worshipped. No? Archana, Architam. So Padmaja Architam is those lotus feet have been worshipped by the lotus born. The lotus feet worshipped by the lotus born, Brahma. Then they say in the second line, Dharani Mandanam Dhyayam Apadi. So Dharani is another name of Bhumi, Mother Earth. Dharani Mandanam. Mandanam means ornament. So Dharani Mandanam is your feet, the Gopi is saying, are the ornament of the earth. We will explain in detail, of course, what's the meaning and implications of all this. But I think you get an immediate general idea. In the very direct literal meaning of the verse, we can understand why Krishna's feet were worshipped by Brahma, fulfill all desires of those who bow down to them, are the ornament of the earth. So we have the general idea, and we will go eventually to the implied meanings, if you will. So Dharani Mandanam Dhyayam Apadi, another attribute of those feet, Dhyayam Apadi. Dhyayam means proper object of meditation. This verse has some similarity with the famous slogan of 11th canto of the Bhagavan. Dhya sada paribhabhyana vishtadoham tirtash padam shiva virintinutam saranyam vrityartiham pranatapala bhavabdipotam andi mahapurusha tircharanarabindam. This is a glorification to Krishna, or maybe to possibly to Rama, to Mahaprabhu especially. And mentioning similar attributes of Bande Mahapurusha Ticcharanarabindam, of what happens when you go to the lotus feet of the Lord. So Dhyayam Apadi means Dhyayam, the proper object of meditation, and Apadi means in times of distress. So in time of distress, those feet are the proper object of meditation. The third line finally mentioned the lotus feet. Charana Pankajam. Charana means feet and Pankajam means lotus. So your lotus feet and all the other things we have said till now. And regarding those lotus feet also, they continue mentioning one more attribute in the third line. Charana Pankajam Shantamam Chate. Shantamam Cha. Cha and Te means your Charana Pankajam, your lotus feet. Shantamam. Shantamam means it's giving of the highest satisfaction. Shantamam, that's another word connected to the attributes of the lotus feet. Giver of highest bliss, highest peace, highest satisfaction. And last line, finally, the gopis present their case, if you will, speak about Krishna's feet. Speaks about the different attributes of Krishna's feet. So now it comes their request. What should be happening with those feet? So they say in the last line, Ramana Nastane Sarpayadiham. So they address Krishna as Ramana. Ramana. Ramana means lover. Radha Raman, famous name, Radha Raman. So the Raman, all over. So immediately with that word, you know what will come after that. What should be happening with those feet? So all over, the gopis relate to the feet of Krishna in a particular way. That's the point. Everyone is worshipping Krishna's feet. Different devotees from different realms. But the gopis say, Ramana nastane swarpaya diham. Ramana nastanesu. Stanesu means breasts, on the breasts. Na means our. Arpaya adiham. Adiham means, oh, you destroyer of mental distress. They call him lover, Ramana, and Adiham, the one who destroys mental distress. The gopis are suffering mental distress in this moment. Separation from Krishna. So, Arpaya means please place. Arpaya Adiham, all destroyer of mental distress. Please Arpaya, please place your lotus feet Nastanesu, on our breasts. And in this way, cool the blazing fire of desire and separation we are going through, experiencing now. So again, that's a very unique approach to Krishna's lotus feet. Everywhere we find this worship of Krishna's feet over and over again, but the gopis direct to it in a particular mode. Uddhav said that before leaving Vrindavan, before when he was glorifying the gopis in his famous Uddhava Gita, there's a section of Uddhava's prayers called Uddhava Gita, where it's not the 11th canto, but in the 10th canto, Brahmar Gita, chapter 47, before leaving Braj, Uddhava presents 6 prayers to the gopis. So the penultimate one, he's saying, Yavai Sriyar Chitam Yajati Virapta Kamayar Yogeshwarai Rapishtadatma Nirasa Gosyam Krishnaschatat Bhagavata Prapadara Bindam Nastam Stanisu Vijaho Parirabhyatapam. So he's saying, Javai Sri Architam is similar, Architam, the word here, Adi Apta Kamar. Many people, many masters of yoga and self-satisfied personalities are worshipping your lotus feet. Yogeswarai, they are Yogeswaras, great masters of yoga. Yogeswarai Apisadatmani Rasadosh. Now they're worshipping your feet by thinking about that, by meditating about that. That's the as much as they can get. Brahma, Shiva, generally they are not entering in direct contact with your feet. They're just meditate on your feet. And if we speak about Lakshmi, she's having the chance of getting to your feet, but mainly in the form of some massage. But Yogeshwari Sadatmani Rasa Gostyam. In the Rasa Gostyam means Istagosti or Rasa Gosti, and meeting of rasa, meeting of love, meeting with the Ishta, the beloved deity. Yogeshwarapi Sadatmani Rasa Gostyam. Krishnasya Tat Bhagavata Prapadara Bindam. This lotus feet of Krishna, what did the gopis do in Rasa Lila? Javaisri Archittamayadi Prapadara Vinyastam Stanesu Bijahu Parirabhyatapam. Vinyastam Stanesu, again. Bijahu Parirabhyatapam. They put those lotus feet on their breast, and this way they were able to end with all the blazing fire of separation and desire. So this will come after, and I'm already giving you a trailer of which will be the happy end of all this, what will happen after the Gopi Gita. So the gopis are approaching Krishna's feet in this unique way. So they're asking, destroyer of anxiety, please place those lotus feet upon our breast. So then let's try to expand of this meaning and pack a little bit of the content of this particular verse. So according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, to connect this verse with the previous 3 ones that I mentioned is part of a section inside the Gopi Gita. Krishna is here in these previous 3 verses from the gopis where they are blaming him, if you will, lovingly, and mentioning how he is to blame because of the different stimulants, Udipana, he was throwing to the gopis like arrows in the form of his smile, his glance, his this, his that, his face. So Krishna will say, okay, according to Vishwanath, this in between dialogues, between each line and each verse. Krishna is saying, if you are always thinking that I give you sorrow, as you implied in the last 3 verses, I'm not going to have anything else, anything more to do with you. Like, so the gopis hear that from Krishna, and they were fearful. Krishna may become angry, and he may leave at any moment. And even though we are not seeing him, he may be nearby, he may be appearing. he appears, he will say that. So the gopis won't enter into this fear. Krishna may disappear forever, and we don't want that. So they repent the previous words, if you will, ecstatically saying, "Oh, alas," alas we say in English, right? We were blinded by the suffering inflicted by our karma, actually. The gopis present themselves in a very humble mode. There's one possibility of this verse, as you know. We were suffering, blinded by suffering, the suffering inflicted by our karma. And in that way, we were falsely finding fault in our beloved. So, sorry, excuse us, Krishna. So in order to please Krishna, they say this, they speak this verse, trying to pacify Krishna's man, Krishna's sulky mood. Generally, we speak about Radha having man, but also Krishna in this particular moment, although it's more like the exception to the rule, he's exhibiting some man, some anger, loving anger. So in order to appease him, to pacify that man, the gopis are praising Krishna here, praising his feet, no? Like the person who is Shantama, who gives all satisfaction, the glories of his feet. No? And after glorifying him in that context, after affirming, you are our goal, then the gopis pray to Krishna, please relieve that suffering, because suffering is still there. So please relieve that suffering. So they will say that in this verse and in the following verse. In these two verses, today and tomorrow, gopis will be trying to pacify Krishna's potential man and presenting their request, praying Krishna to relieve them from their suffering. So this is the first of two verses in this connection. So both in this verse and the next, different commentators mention this also, that due to their fervor, you say fervor? Yeah. The gopis are asking to Krishna something that they already requested, as I told you, in a previous verse, verse number 7. But this time they're adding some extra feature, some further details, because of the stirring of Cupid that was enhanced in them by the song, by the Gita, by the Gopi Gita. So in verse number 7, gopis say also, the verse starts similarly. No? They start to glorify Krishna's feet. No? Pranata dehinam papa karshanam. Maybe you remember. Trinacharanuga sriniketanam panipanarpitam ti padam bhujan krina kuchesuna krindihrichayam. The lotus feet, priyatanti dehinam. Those who surrender to the lotus feet, papa karshan, destroy all sins. Trinacharanuga, those feet walk on the pasture following the cows. Sriniketanam are the abode of the cows, of the cows, are the abode of Sri, of Lakshmi, sorry. Fani Fanarchitam, those feet were on the hoods of Kalia, of the serpent. Te Padam Bhujam, Krina Kuchesuna Krindihricha. So thus, please put that feet in our heart and relieve us from our lusts, from the fire of our desire. That was verse 7. And now it seems they're saying something similar. They're praising the feet, and they are concluding by asking, put your feet on our breasts, our hearts. But actually, it is said that there's no fault in repetition because of many reasons. One, because the gopis here, they are like piling up, if you will, the qualities of Krishna's feet more and more to glorify him even more. There is no end to the glorifications of Krishna's feet, as you know. And Antasesh till today, continuing glorifying, trying to glorify Krishna's feet and not able to fully grasp the totality of that. And also we can say that the repetition is not faulty because there were many speakers, many gopis, so not necessarily every verse was spoken by the same gopi. So here another gopi is glorifying something similar, if you will. Different possibilities, that's the point. So, of course, here there are many attributes. Guru Maharaj mentions his aesthetic Vedanta. Krishna's feet possesses the qualities mentioned herein, of course, and more. But only one who humbles oneself, bows before those feet, will be able to realize the truth. That's why the word pranatist is the very first one here. And also in the verse 7, pranata dehinam, and here pranata kamadam. So pranata, pranam, pranipatina. All these words implies about surrender. If you want to get to the feet of someone, generally the feet will be down. So you will have to put your head down. You have to go first there, basically. So here the gopis are enumerating the positive qualities of Krishna's feet mainly. There is a difference between this verse and the previous one. In the 7th verse, when I say previous one, I mean the 7th verse, but they seem to repeat the same thing. In the 7th verse, they emphasize Krishna's feet, the power of Krishna's feet for removing inauspiciousness. That was the main focus. But here, the focus is the positive qualities of Krishna's feet. Sanatana Goswami mentioned something similar in his Brihad Vaishnava Toshani commentary. He says that the difference between this verse 13 and verse number 7 is that here the gopis, again, they are saying Krishna's feet fulfill all desires. Whereas in verse number 7, they say your feet end all sinful reactions. So more strictly on the negative side. Of course, direct and indirect way, two ways of approaching the same reality. But also Sanatana Goswami here adds like, here in that verse, the gopis clearly stated their purpose. They say, Hrichayam Krindhi, crush the lust in our hearts, in the 7th verse. Here, the gopis are using the vocative Adiham, which means destroyer of mental distress. It's basically the same meaning. Crush the lust in our heart, destroy our mental distress, our desire, which is in the mind. But here the gopis are saying that indirectly. So again, indirect meaning is more eminent, if you will. You raise the eminence of the purpose because it's indirectly stated. And that's something that pleases Krishna much more. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad, Paroksha Vada Risaya Paroksha Mama Chapriyam. He says that generally the Vedic statesmen, the Vedic seers, they speak in esoteric, indirect terms. So Krishna says, Paroksham Mama Chapriyam. That's very dear to me. I really prefer the indirect mode of expression. So here the gopis are taking shelter in that indirect mode. So that pleases Krishna more. So that implies there's a more exalted level of content in this verse than in the 7th verse. And also Sanatana Goswami ends his purport saying, also the mental pains here are manifold at this moment, at this point. Whereas previously in the 7th verse, the only the gopis say Hrit Chayan. They only mention their lust, their desire. But at this point, some verse after, the mental pains have further expanding themselves. So it's much more surcharged, much more emotionally intense. So this is some introduction to the verse in connection to this 7th verse, which seems to be a similar verse to understand how there is no contradiction or no repetition, fault of repetition here. So let's go a little bit now to the words of the verse itself and trying to expand on their meaning, unfold their meaning. So the verse starts saying, Pranata Kamadam, Pranata Kamadam. So now we'll go a little bit more beyond the obvious meaning. Let's go to hidden meanings, indirect meanings. So Pranata Kamadam, again, Pranata Kamadam meant those who surrender to your feet fulfill all their desires. So that's one meaning. Like you immediately fulfill the desires of those surrender unto you. That's a general idea. But the gopis are speaking this same words from the particular vantage point of view, romantic approach. So that means kamadam. Kama means desire in a generic way, but kama means again lust or romantic desire in a specific way. So pranata kamadam for the gopis in their particular situation, in this case, has a second meaning, which is they are saying to Krishna by saying this, you bestow nothing less than calm, romantic desires in the heart of those surrender unto you. Like implying, we are the ones surrender unto you, and you are the one who bestows calm upon us. We are the experience of that. We have received those arrows one after the other. So calm, in this context, is the superlative expression of Krishna's mercy in the context of Madhurya Bhava. The imparting of Cupid, as we spoke yesterday. Even though the gopis may seem to be suffering and complaining about that, actually, for them, that's topmost mercy, topmost grace. So we have to, again, really understand the language of love, the indirectness of romantic esoteric affair. So here Kam means not mundane desire, mundane lust, but a particular type of prem, divine love, which is the love the gopis have, which is actually called like this. It's called Kamarupa Bhakti, or sometimes called Kamatmika Bhakti. So the whole bhakti is Kamarup. No? It's made of their form. It takes the form of desire. It takes the form of lust, if you will. It takes the form, as Guru Maharaj will say, of illicit relationship, because you have Sambandha Rupa Bhakti, which is the bhakti that comes in the form of a legal relationship. Krishna's friends, Krishna's parents, Krishna's servants, they love him in that relationship, and that's okay, they should. But the gopis love Krishna in romantic connection, and they shouldn't, according to the law, no, moral law of the village, if you will, because they are already married. And there are many, and Krishna is one, and so on. So that's what's called Kamarup. The bhakti is moved, impelled by desire, nothing else, but even transgressing moral prescriptions, social concerns, and so on. So, of course, if one approaches Krishna, the method is approaching Krishna under the guidance of the Kamarupa Bhakti. That's what we call Kamanuga Bhakti. Kamanuga Bhakti is the form of Raganuga Bhakti that those who aspire to follow in the footsteps of the gopis will engage in. No? The gopis represent the epitome of Kamarupa or Kamatmika Bhakti, and the ones who want to follow in the wake of that will engage in Kamanuga Bhakti, which means Raganuga, follow the Kamarupa, the reference point that the gopis are giving. So Pranata Kamadam means this. So this is a second thing, as we see. It's not just the fulfillment of the desires in a general way, to surrender people in a general way. The gopis are surrender in particular way, so they expect a particular type of fulfillments of particular desires they have in that particular type of surrender in Kamarupa Bhakti. So to further appreciate more this second possible meaning, let's qualify it further by connecting with some other parts of the verse and giving some examples which are included here in this verse somehow or other indirectly. 2 examples connected to Pranata Kamadam and the next word Padmajarchitam. So let's go first of all with the example of Kaliya, which was given in the 7th verse, the other verse that is similar to this one, Fani Fanarchitam, it said. So Kaliya, what's the point? The gopis, when they are saying Pranata Kamadam, someone surrendered to you, received the most desired thing. Kaliya is a great example of this. The gopis imply, even though Kaliya was an offender, we know that, when he surrendered Pranata unto your feet and to you, you gave him the most desired thing, Kamadam. You gave him your lotus feet. As we know, Krishna danced, executed Nataraj dance there, and so on. So we know the whole pastime. I won't retell it in detail, but this pastime is of the subduing of Kaliya is an example of the first meaning of Pranata Kamadam. Bear in mind those 2 meanings, please. So first is someone who surrenders to you finds his desires fully fulfilled. So Kaliya is an extreme example of that, because Kaliya was an offender originally. He was opposed to Krishna, was opposed to Krishna's bird carrier, Vishnu's bird carrier, basically, Garuda, as we know the background of the Kaliya story. Also, he was even angry with his wives, the Naga Patnis, because at one point the Naga Patnis told Kaliya, do not oppose Krishna. They were not opposed to Krishna as their husband. So he didn't like that. So eventually we know what happened. He poisoned the waters of the Jamuna. It seemed that he killed some Brajavasis. Krishna entered there, started to fight with him. And at that moment, during that very intense emotional moment for the whole Brajavasis, being there, witnessing the whole situation of a little boy, fighting with a big snake. Wow, that's too much. Imagine Yashoda want to jump into the Jamuna and just save his son. That was the situation, and all the Brajavasis just taking her, catching her, and so on. So the point is that when Krishna was there, Kaliya was biting Krishna. He beat Krishna on all tender parts of his body. Certain parts with the vital organs are there located, including Krishna's heart. No? Imagine the attitude, Kaliya trying to bite Krishna's heart, to eat Krishna's heart. So normally a person who is bitten by such a monster in those soft, delicate places will die very quickly. A venom, poisonous serpent and so on. So actually we know Kaliya eventually was saved only by the intervention of his wives and the Nagapatnis. Because the Nagapatnis first, they saw Krishna fighting with Kaliya, and his wives remained silent there. They did not pray, oh Krishna, please bestow your mercy on our husband, because they consider, no, our husband is foolish. We already advised him, and he is doing whatever he likes, so what to do? But it is said that when Krishna started to dance and jump over the hoods of Kaliya, and also showing to the gopis, this is previous to the Rasa Lila, giving a trailer and showing, see how nice dancer I am. No? So he began to crush, to force Kaliya's hoods to go down, to offer pranam by force, if you will. But the force of the mercy with his lotus feet, he was putting his different marks of the soles of his feet on Kaliya's head. So that was great mercy for Kaliya. So at that point, the Nagapatnis perceived a change of heart, a change of mind in Kaliya when he received these markings, this intense lotus feet of Krishna. So at that point, Kaliya, as you may know, submitted to Krishna and say, I surrender unto you, pranata, kamadam. So at that point, Krishna, again, placed his feet there. The change of heart, of course, was inevitable for him. So when that took place, it happened suddenly, again, some minutes before Kaliya was trying to bite Krishna's heart. And some minutes after, Kaliya was surrendering. So at that moment, the Nagapatnis perceived the change in their husband. They immediately began to pray to Krishna. At that moment, they did pray. At that moment, he was saved. Kaliya was saved at that moment. So the point is that the whole pastime is showing even an offender that wants to eat Krishna, kill Krishna, bite Krishna, if he comes to Krishna and begs for mercy, as Kaliya eventually did, Krishna will forgive him and bestow his mercy. You know, Kaliya was not killed by Krishna. He had to do it to some other places, you know, but mercy was there. So that's the first meaning, possible. No, one pastime regarding the first meaning of this pranata kamadam. Even an offender, if he surrenders to you, you give your mercy kamadam. A second example of this first meaning is Brahma, which appears in this verse after pranata kamadam, padmajarchitam, the lotus born. So padmajarchitam, Brahma Padmaja also offended you, the gopis say, by quoting Brahma here. Brahma also offended you, but he was forgiven when he worshipped your lotus feet, when he made architam, engaged in archan to your lotus feet. So in which sense the gopis say here that the Brahma offer archan, worship Krishna's feet? There are many instances, if you will, of this. One could say, okay, Brahma worshipped Krishna's feet when Brahma asked Krishna to descend to this world to protect the universe. The gopis say that in verse 4, maybe you remember. They say, Bikana Shartito, Bishvaguptaye. When some Aishwarya comes on the surface and the gopis realize, actually you were requested by Brahma to descend to the world and protect the whole universe. You are not the son of Yashoda. Nakalu Gopika Nandano Bhava. Akila Dehinam Antarat Madrik. You are the inner oversoul of every living entity. All those, that Aishwarya coming in the context of their Madhurya. So we may say, okay, so Brahma worshipped Krishna's feet, Padmajarchitam, in the context of requesting him come to this world. But this present line, when the gopis are saying here, Padmajarchitam, that's mainly connected to Brahma's offenses to Krishna. So you may ask, well, which are the offenses? Well, he made a few number of them. We have the Brahma Vimohan Lila, which is maybe the main one, the most known one that we will also analyze now for a minute. He tried to kidnap Krishna's friends and calves, but also Brahma have given like boons to people like Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Ravana. Brahma gave blessings to those demons and other ones, and by such boons, these demons became powerful and fought with Krishna and different incarnations of Krishna like Ramachandra. So in that way, we can say that was an offense that created some obstacle, although it was part of a divine plan to give, as you know, generally pleasure to Krishna to experience without us fighting, as you know. But mainly they refer here to the Brahma Vimohan Lila. So as you know, the past time, I won't enter into detail. Guru Maharaj loves this section too much, so he has been really expert in making for us that clear to us and sharing the insights of that lila where Brahma is confused about Krishna. He's not trusting, he's doubting, he's not the Supreme Lord. So at the beginning of creation, now he's having this picnic with their friends in full informality, eating with left hand and so on. So he tries to kidnap kids, calves. He leaves to Brahmalok for a moment. He returns after 1 year of early time. Krishna expanded himself into the calves and the friends. So everything seems to be okay in Braj. So Brahma returns and he sees and says, who are these calves and these boys that he's seeing? All of them have been kidnapped and put in a cave on me. So he's with his 4 heads, he's using 2 heads, 4 eyes of 2 heads. He's looking towards the cave. And with his other 2 heads and 4 eyes, he's looking to the other calves and friends of Krishna that are there behind him. So as you know, at that moment, his head started to spin. Because he could see both sets of calves and cowherd boys at the same time. So he could not decide which ones are real, what's going on here, basically. As you know, finally, he understood this is not the work of my own Maya, my own capacity to overwhelm. This is Krishna's Maya. This is my Lord's Maya. So at that point, Brahma, as you know, he shut his eyes. He fell flat on the earth. He started to weep and to pray and to beg forgiveness for his mistake. And when he opened his eyes, it is said that he no longer saw any calves, any boys, but he saw Krishna only. But he saw that each of the calves and each of the boys with the different paraphernalia now appeared as Krishna in his 4-arm form feature of Narayan. So that's really Aishwarik. That's the topmost Aishwarya moment in the whole Bhagavad. So Brahma had this second darshan. He closed his eyes again, crying and praying, and he opens again his eyes. He no longer saw those forms of Narayan. He's only Krishna alone there, standing like if he were looking for his friends and calves, exactly like he looked before, wearing the same garments origin. So, and in his hand he was holding some rice, some yogurt. Some commentator used the word bhakta for this. Bhakta means rice also, and bhakta means devotee. So it means all that time Krishna was still holding to this rice, which means holding to his devotee. He could not abandon them. He was like looking for them, anxiously searching for the calves, searching for the friends. Where are my beloveds? So Krishna looked like he had no idea what's going on. That was his full expression of Nara Lila in that context. So Brahma was again, 4 heads spinning. He started to offer the Brahma Stuti, his prayers, a whole nice chapter in Bhagavad, 14th chapter, 10th canto. So the point is that Brahma offended Krishna at that moment. He offended the form of the Lord because he saw his ultimate form in Braj, and he saw this is a cheater. This is not the form I saw at the beginning of creation. So as Guru Maharaj said, Brahma offended the form of the Lord by Krishna's form was offended by Krishna's name, stay with him. So in his next birth, Brahma was born as Haridas, Brahma Haridas Thakur, and he became the Namacharya. So you see that Nam was really with him, and he eventually attained his desired goal of Sakya Rasa that he presented in the beginning of creation. But the point again, second example that the gopis are giving here, Padmajarchitam, Brahma offended you, but he surrendered and you gave him full mercy to the point that he became the Namacharya. So again, if that happened to them, that's a particular fulfillment of desire. But we, remember, Pranatakamadam, there is a second meaning. We want you to bestow us a particular type of fulfillment. We have not offended you, actually. No? We could say Krishna is almost offending the gopis. Of course, it's not offending them. This is a concept of increasing their love. But they could have an argument for that. They're accusing him of being a thief and a killer. So we have not offended you. So we are surrendered to you in a particular way. So you should reciprocate the particular desire we have for you. Kamadam, you should bestow your full presence there, your full loving interaction. So let's continue with the remaining of the verse. The verse say, Dhyam apadi. Also the gopis say, Dhyam apadi. Your feet are the proper object of meditation, Dhyam apadi, in times of distress. So, of course, the miseries of sincere devotees, we know that that will disappear. The scriptures say here and there, a devotee won't suffer. Krishna will be in charge of that. He will yogakshemam bahamyaham, will give whatever is necessary, will maintain whatever is there, will take half out whatever is not necessarily. But also it's important to understand for a minute this point of the suffering, so-called suffering in devotees. We have spoken about that many times. So, of course, the misery in sincere devotees will disappear, but at the same time, it is said that Krishna is thinking, in order to have prem for me, my devotees must continue their practice of bhakti. The results of their previous karma have already been nullified, even though it seems it's playing out. So the point is they are no longer subject to birth and death, but if they do not take birth again on planet Earth, how will they be able to practice bhakti and achieve prem? Sometimes the devotee may have achieved bhav, a sakti, almost karma, all karma is behind, but they need to further refine it. Even if they attain prem, as you know, they need to be born again on planet Earth, in Vrindavan, obtaining Sarup Siddhi, in order to distill their prem so it becomes Vashtu Siddhi and then finally enter Golok. So they need to be born again in somewhere in this world, but that will be karma. That's the point. So it seems they're getting born, it seems that's part of karma. So that's the point. Krishna's thinking in this way. I want my devotees to go to Braj, but it won't be possible for them to go there because nobody go there unless one heart is imbued with Krishna Prem, which for that some processes require of some rebirths, if you will. So Krishna will create those circumstances by which such devotees will take birth and continue their practices of sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, prem bhakti, and even more. And in that process, the devotees will advance by the force of separation, as you know, more and more utkanta, as we explained yesterday, intense eagerness to the point of not being able to remain alive in separation from the beloved. So this separation is very important even from day one. So without separation, a devotee cannot really practice the chanting, for example, the approach to the link with Krishna. So that person will be weeping, eventually shedding tears sincerely, somehow or other, and in this mode the holy name will eventually become pure name, Sudanam. So that's why Krishna is giving some suffering also to the devotees, because sometimes Harinam will be sung with tears and a deep feeling in the heart. Krishna, save me, protect me, give me your shelter. So sometimes we should understand that's the purpose of suffering being imparted in the life of certain devotees, so-called suffering that we may call Shovana karma, actually. Beautiful suffering, because it has the purpose. It's being directly administered by Krishna with the purpose of increasing separation, increasing the shelter, increasing all that has to be increased, basically. So dhyayam apadi, apadi dhyayam. An example of the famous one, not the gopis, but a famous example is Gajendra. He's one who approached Krishna with arti. Now, this is one of the 4 people who approach God, the afflicted one. So you know the whole story. I won't go into detail. The elephant, the king of elephants, being afflicted, beaten by a crocodile. Both the crocodile and the elephant have received some curse to be in that particular form. And eventually the elephant remembered his previous life as a king, offered a prayer, and offered the lotus flower, and eventually Bhagavan appeared and saved him. So a famous example is Gajendra, but the gopis here are speaking about a particular type of affliction, distress, not the same one as Gajendra. They were not dying. They are dying by being beaten by the crocodile of separation, if you will, if we want to continue with the analogy. So the gopis imply here that Krishna's feet should be meditated upon in times of distress. But what's distress for the gopis? Separation. Viraha Agni. When there is separation, there is distress, separation from the beloved, even from a second, from the blinking of an eye. So that's the particular idea when they say here, Dhyayam apadi. And the gopis till now, they are connecting different points that they mentioned till now in the verse. They are saying, Pranata Kamadam, those feet fulfill the desires of the humble. So are we not humble? The gopis are saying. No? Your feet were revered by Brahma. Did we not revere them? Hmm? Those feet are the ornament of the earth. Now we will go to that point. Those feet are the ornament of the earth. Hmm? So they should be the ornament of our chests also. Hmm? So they connect all these examples they are giving in connection to their own example, and to give more strength to their request. Place your feet upon our breasts, our hearts. So the gopis, they say here, no? Dharani mandanam. Let's go to this point. Dharani mandanam. Your feet are the ornament of the earth. So the gopis are implying this here, no? The same way that your lotus feet are the ornament of the earth's heart, they are also the ornament of our hearts. Every single way, no? Inside, outside. So mandanam, dharani mandanam. Dharani means the earth, bhumi devi, bhu devi. And mandanam has to do with decoration. Mandanam specifically refers to a decoration that enhances one's beauty. For example, our tilak is mandanam. It's daily ornamentation, decoration to enhance the beauty of our sadhaka deha for the pleasure of the Lord. So that's a very important aspect of our daily life. It's not just a sectarian mark for people to know which is your sampradaya, or to look weird in the supermarket. Of course, some considerations has to be taken, and you may not be able to go to work with tilak, but we should not underestimate the importance of such a mandana. So generally, we adorn our bodies with ornaments and with decorations. There are technically two terms, abharana and mandana. Abharana means ornamentation, like when you are doing abharana to the deities. You're offering, for example, in our case, neck beads or some rings. They are ornaments because they are not attached to the body, if you will. And decorations, mandana, has to do with unguents, you say, like pulps, things that are directly attached to the body. So here the example is dharani mandanam. Krishna's feet are the ornament on the earth because they are attached to the earth. They are always there. They're never, Mother Earth is not experiencing separation from Krishna's feet. She doesn't know what's Vipralamba. That's what the gopis say when they were looking for Krishna before. They started to inquire from Mother Earth. Since she was not answering, she said she doesn't know what's the experience of love in separation, because she always experiencing the touch of Krishna's feet. So dharani mandanam. In the case of the gopis, they also do mandanam. They also decorate their cheeks. For example, this describes the different parts of the bodies with pictures. For example, makari. Makari is like a female makara. Makara is like a crocodile, some sort of aquatic species, not strictly a crocodile, but something like that. And it's a type of sea creature. It's not a crocodile in itself, because it cannot, because again, crocodiles are very dangerous species. And it say that not anything dangerous cannot enter Krishna Lila, basically. In the eternal realm, at least, there are no demons there. It is also that say that Kamadev's flag, not Cupid's flag, also bears the emblem of a makara. So this animal, this species, has to do with the idea of Kamadev, of romantic love, Cupid. So this makara is associated with that amorous love. So the gopis are being decorated in their bodies with this. So the inner meaning of the gopis here is your lotus feet are an ornament for the breasts of the earth. Bhumi Devi, personified Bhumi Devi, the earth, everything is personified in our tradition. So gopis say your lotus feet are an ornament for the breast of Bhumi Devi. So why will not you make them an ornament for ours as well, our breasts as well? In his commentary to the Bhagavad, in connection to this point, Balabhacharya, he mentions that if a woman is not enjoyed, a woman won't be enjoyed according to traditional Vedic consideration. A woman is not enjoyed if she's not decorated. So the point in this connection is the earth is female, so Krishna is her ornament. The earth is ready for enjoyment, connected to Krishna, because she's decorated by Krishna's feet. So the idea of the gopis is, okay, you place your feet on her, do the same on us, ornament us, decorate us, so we can be enjoyed by you, so we can give you enjoyment. That's the whole conclusion over and over again of the gopis. No? Appear before us so we can serve you. Also, they say Shantamam Chate. Charanam Pankajam, your lotus feet, Shantamam Chate. These feet, your feet, Shantamam, are the these 2 feet are the givers of the greatest satisfaction. In this connection, it is described that if we are to place, we have a scale, and if we place on the scale all the miseries of the world, including suffering in hell, on one side of the scale, and the gopis' suffering of separation on the other side of the scale, we will see that the suffering of the gopis' hearts is far greater. But we shouldn't be mistaken and say, oh, I don't want that, I don't want to suffer like them. It's an ecstatic suffering. We cannot feel like dimension, like Guru Maharaj say, when the gopis, the Brajavasis show suffering or happiness, both of them are ecstatic. When in this world we experience suffering or happiness, both of them are suffering, actually. So that's the way to properly understand that. If we are not beyond the false sense of happiness from this world, we won't be able to understand the real sense of suffering, if you will, on the other world. So the gopis are expressing their suffering in love. I mean, when you love, you suffer. Let's begin with that. Let's begin with that idea in this world, compassionate love. Just like the very basic idea of love, compassion. That's the topmost reach in this world. Shantarasa, it is explained. The highest degree of glorious love here is Shantarasa, compassion love, universal compassion. That's the lowest range on the upper world, but that's on the very foundation. So compassion means I have love, universal love, not selfish love. Thus, when I see someone suffering, I make that suffering mine. I'm empathic with that person. So her suffering becomes my suffering. So there's suffering in love, but it's not the same suffering that there is in selfishness. So if that suffering is in the very beginnings of love, Santaras, universal compassion, how much more will be suffering in love in the topmost peak of love that the gopis are showing here. But again, as the suffering in compassion is sweet and it expands our heart, the suffering in Madhurya Bhav is sweeter and expands furthermore the hearts of those suffering there. So we should be able to accommodate all the things when hearing. The gopis are suffering so much and so on. So here the gopis are saying that to Krishna. Our intolerable suffering, distress can only be relieved, if our hearts are touched by your lotus feet. That will be the source of all happiness for us, Shantamam Sati. It will give us unfathomable bliss, unending bliss to us. So that's the point. The extreme suffering makes for extreme bliss. Extreme separation makes for extreme union. So we need to understand this like equation. So an instance of this will be, as we will see at the end of our study of the Gopi Gita, Krishna's appearance before the gopis. When they completed their Gopi Gita, their singing, Krishna will appear in a very unique, extremely beautiful way as nobody saw before, because that was proportionate to the extreme suffering of the gopis. No? So he had to appear in such an extremely charming way. So we see there's a correlation here. So give me some few extra minutes, not too much, but let's go to the last line of the verse, which says, Ramana nastane sarpayadiham. The gopis also, again, do not only speak to Krishna as Ramana, oh lover, but Arpayadi, destroyer of mental distress. So they say, oh lover, oh destroyer of mental distress, nastane swarpaya. Place those same feet upon our breasts. So that's the conclusion. Again, they make the whole present. You see how the gopis very expertly elaborate their whole case. So eventually everything can converge in their unique request and be fully justified to request what they are requesting. They have full reasoning for that in a spontaneous way, natural way. So the gopis were putting all the things together in the whole verse to conclude this. They say, though Kaliya was an offender, when he surrendered to you, you gave him the most desired thing, pranata kamadam, your lotus feet. Brahma, again, Padmajarchitam, Brahma also offended you, but he was forgiven when he worshipped you, when he worshipped your feet. Here we are focusing on Krishna's feet. Therefore, the gopis are saying, we also forgive, we pray that you also forgive our offense. Again, the gopis didn't commit any offense. But remember, the very beginning of today's class was Krishna may have replied to the gopis' previous 3 verses. I don't like how you spoke to me. You are saying that I'm guilty of your suffering, that I was disaffecting you, making you suffer. I feel that's an offense to me. Krishna may have feel offended, according to Vishwanath. So the gopis here in their humility are saying, please, as you forgave Brahma and Kaliya for their offenses, also forgive our offense. Forgive our offense and appear before us. And also, in the same way, the gopis continue, as your feet decorate the earth, Dharani Mandanam, you should also decorate our breasts, please, by placing your feet on them. Oh Ramana, they say, all over. The vocative Ramana, which implies, of course, that Krishna has a liking for romance. That's clear. When we say Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram has to do with Krishna's enjoyer and source of delight, and ultimately in the context of romantic love for the ones especially having that affinity. So the gopis are those. So they call him Ramana, knowing we know your affinity for romance. So by calling him in this way, this vocative, this Ramana, is strengthening the idea that is, appear before us and place your feet here. You won't be tired by doing that. Rather, you will only derive pleasure from putting your feet on our breasts. Only that way your desire will be fully satisfied. And remember, the gopis are saying that crying, weeping, sobbing, rolling on the ground in separation, not because of mundane agitation. So they are saying, only in this way you will be fully satisfied. We know you need to be fully satisfied. And we know the degree of your thirst regarding satisfaction. You are not someone who becomes easily, cheaply satisfied. You need a particular type of degree, quantity, quality of rasa to be fully satisfied. So we know you need that, and we have, and we are willing to provide that. So we are dying because we know that, but you are not appearing and we are not able to serve you properly. So let me finish with some brief words from Sanatana Goswami. He makes a nice summary of this verse regarding what we already said. So he says like this, he says, his feet grant all desires to those who bow. The quality of being a bestower of all goals is thus stated by Pranata Kamadam. Therefore, they are revered by Brahma, Padmajarchita. This refers to his quality of being God. So some Aishwarya is possibly there as well. Brahma is worshipping your feet. That means Aishwarya. Again, we see how Aishwarya comes to the fourth in order only to serve intimacy. His feet, Sanatan continues, are the ornament of the earth by leaving the beautiful marks of his footprints and by implementing Prem Bhakti in that way. No? When Krishna leaves his footprints, he's implementing Prem Bhakti on the earth. Being beautiful and being merciful, Krishna's being beautiful and merciful are thus pointed out, says Sanatan. So we see how the gopis are trying to praise Krishna very expertly, very sweetly. And his feet, Jayamapati, should be meditated when in trouble. So this is the quality of removing all obstacles, including obstacles in bhakti. One name of Krishna is Mukunda, which means the one who gives mukti, the one who gives freedom. So freedom from what? Of course, freedom from samsara, freedom from obstacles. Of course, it has many degrees of meanings also. I won't enter into detail, that will be too much. But briefly, I mentioned Mukunda also has a spiritual meaning to the gopis, especially to Radha. Because it is said that Krishna, when Krishna wants to meet with Radha and join with her, he's called Mukunda because he's freeing all obstacles that may be in the way, in the sense of whatever clothes Radha has tightened to her, Krishna will be very expert in untightening that, freeing those obstacles so he can go to the real thing, if you will, to Sri Radha's beauty in detail. So he will untie the bell, untie her clothes, and that's also a name for Mukunda, an application of the giver of liberation, because those are obstacles in their union, if you will. So Sanatana Goswami finishes saying, with Shantamam, given of all bliss, the gopis say that Krishna's feet are the highest goals in terms of both dispelling sorrow and providing happiness, two directions. And the sense of atiham, destroy of mental distress, means to put an end to our pain of separation. That's the specific mental distress the gopis are experiencing here. And the gist, Sanatan finished, the very gist of the word Ramana is, please bring about pleasure by means of various types of fun. All those things are included in the word Ramana. Giver of pleasure or relisher of pleasure, yes. Bring about pleasure by means of various types of fun in the romantic sense of the term. So again, the conclusion will be appear before us. Appear before us as soon as possible. Again, time is passing. So this is verse number 13, and tomorrow verse number 14 will be also in the same vein, in the same line, just for you to remember. So some ideas today. I don't know if you may like to share any questions. No questions today. No problem. Okay. So today we have no questions, no problem. Maybe the content was too intense and you are just processing that, and that's good. Also, not necessarily always they have to be questions. But sometimes we receive too many truths and we need to gradually digest them. So, and this is an eternal ongoing process. So thank you very much to all of you for being there in today's rainy day. So in the recording we will have that background music today, that tempura of the intense downpour of torrential mercy. That's what the gopis are asking here for. So see you tomorrow. We will continue with verse 14. So thank you very much. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Shriman Mahaprabhu ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Shri Shri Gaur Radha Madhav ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Gauri jai. Shri Dwadasi ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Hari Gaur Vanchakalpatarishta Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Hari Gaur.
Haribo. Thank you.